restoring men and history. They say it, they mean it. On Friday, marchers in New York City Annual's drag queen parade resorted to a disturbing chant. We're here, we're queer, and we're coming for your children. As Fox News reports, the chants could be heard during the parade's march through the city's East Village. This is from New York City drag marchers chant, "We're coming from your children," Eric Lindrum, June 26, 2023. But here's the point. We're here, we're queer, we're coming for your children means what? We're going to talk today, I'll go through some examples of, this was a group chanting. But here's the thing. They're taking actions toward it constantly all over the United States with institutional power, driving from the Department of Education. We just did the Department of Education. But it's in many, many places, and many people are pushing this agenda, this ideology. They want your children. If you like this video, please like it, share it, subscribe, and pass it around to your friends. Thank you, and have a magnificent day. The truth is they're taking action to take your children. California versus state versus parents that we just did. The march consisted of drag queens, homosexual men who dressed as wildly, I've seen the pictures and images, distorted caricatures of women, often in lewd or sexually explicit outfits. Now, here's the thing. The chant reflects an apparent desire among the LGBTQ crowd, and particularly those who identify as transgender, to target, here's the point, impressionable young children. We know children are impressionable for the purposes of sexually what to them? These concerns have been long called out by conservative activists. But many on the left have dismissed these as conspiratorial, but we know now, right? Present at the march was the far-left drag queen group Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, a group where performers dress up as sexualized nuns and perform in ways that blaspheme Christianity and Catholicism. All right, that group got headlines, he goes on to say, at the Dodgers game. Here's the point. They're taking actions on this. They're not just singing a song. And here's the other point, this whole month. What exactly are they proud about? Meaning, why are they celebrating a vice over a virtue of, say, of humility or courage or loyalty? We talk a lot about the virtues because men need virtues, right? And a republic needs virtues. So it's more insidious than you think. They're trying to make vice heralded, and not only pushing your children toward identifying as something else than they are. That's one goal, right? And then it's taking the parents out of the equation. That's another goal. Dividing children and parents for what? Power, control, money. No federal government should be funding any of this. That's one solution. Get the federal government funding and state government funding out of it. No transgender surgeries. So you see this, companies, corporate America, all involved in this to push this ideology on the youth. Confusion is not good. Confusing the youth is bad. We've talked about that. Let's go on. I wanted to give you an example of that chant, and it's really about that chant. We're here, we're queer, we're coming for your children. And historically, through society, they have come for the children, right? If you look back at the Incas, the Aztecs, the Mayans, what happened? Moloch in the Bible, what happened there? They were sacrificing children. Here they're indoctrinating children and trying to change them into something they're not. It's really insidious. And trying to divide the parents from their kids. So let's go on. Here's the action. Who's they? Who's we? We. Here's one example. Let's go into it. Okay, this is from SlayNews.com. New Jersey files, now get what they're filing for. New Jersey files emergency lawsuits to what? To protect children? No. To block schools from notifying parents, you, the parents, of gender transitions. So here's the action. So they say, we're here, we're queer, we're coming for your children, right? We're here, we're queer, we're coming for your children. And over here, they're doing it. They're taking action. So who's the they? Who's the we? Right here. June 25th, 2023, Frank Bergman writes this. New Jersey's Democratic Governor Phil Murphy has filed emergency lawsuits to block school districts. By the way, these emergency crisis powers, well, let's go into that later. Block school districts from, that's not an emergency, okay? That is not an emergency. See how these guys want to move power to either the state government or the federal government? They're all similar. And use crisis and emergency to take more power. You see that? This is an emergency for him. It's an emergency for his ideology and his goals for children, to take the children from parents. Yes, that's his emergency. To block school districts from implementing a new policy to notify parents of their children's gender transition. So get this guy, Governor Phil Murphy, has filed emergency lawsuits to block school districts, according to this article, implementing a new policy to notify parents of their children's gender transitions. And when you know you're wrong, you don't want the parents involved, do you? They might say something. And by the way, it's up to the parents to stand against this foolishness, especially the fathers. You guys got to stand. Again, here's a school district. So we talked about the Department of Education. Again, the best solution is get your kids out of the schools. Homeschool. If you're planning to have kids in 5-10 years, make a plan now to homeschool, because it hurts federal funding, it hurts the schools, and it gets your kids away from those influences. Just one day after the policies were approved, one day, get this, several of the state's school districts implemented new policies requiring staff to notify parents if their child expresses the desire to change their gender identity. Just one day after the policies were approved, Governor Murphy's administration filed lawsuits against Middletown, Marlboro, and another town. I don't know the pronunciation, Englishtown School Districts, Monapolin or something. The lawsuits are seeking a temporary restraining order to block the policies across New Jersey. Middleton School District's policy would require teachers and other school staff, get this, to notify parents, this is a big deal, when their child indicates that they believe they are transgender. Notify the parents. The governor doesn't want it. Why? He used to work at Goldman Sachs, this guy. We got to take a look. Red flags would be raised by the school if a child chooses to change their name or pronouns or request to use a restroom that does not align with their biological sex. Get this. They want parents versus the state. We just did one on it. This is continual. We're here. What? We're coming for your children. This is it. This is the action, right? One of the actions. We can go into a bunch. We can do a lot of videos on this. The lawsuit was filed by New Jersey Attorney General Matt Platkin against the kindergarten through 12th grade district. Platkin claims that the notification policy could irreparably harm transgender students. No, it could irreparably harm your ideology push. Quote, outing transgender, gender nonconforming, and non-binary status, yet their will possess serious mental health risks. No. All right, let's go on. Murphy's administration claims the policy should be tossed for unlawful discrimination against transgender. No, it's notifying the parents, buddy. Gender nonconforming and non-binary students that could cause drastic, irreversible harms. Yeah, it's going to cause irreversible harms if you do it. And Douglas Murray writes about it. There's a lot of articles on it. People are coming out about this. There's the people that transitioned that are coming out saying they regret it. In New Jersey, we will not tolerate any action by schools that threaten the health and safety of our young. Let me translate that. In New Jersey, we will not tolerate any opposition to our totalitarian policies to remove parents from their kids and for us to take over and have full control. Without question, that's me fair, just seeing what it could mean. What I think it really means. Without question, the discriminatory policies passed by these boards of education, if allowed to go into effect, will harm our kids. You're the harm to the kid. Simply put, these policies violate our laws, and we will not relent in protecting our LGBTQ from discrimination. All right, so that's one article. Here's another point, if we have time to go into it. And let's sum this up. You see, parents versus the state. State wants control over the kids. That can divide kids. If you divide parents and kids apart and they're having squabbles, that gives what? More power to the state and the totalitarians and tyranny, right? Let's go into one more piece if we have time. We'll see how long this is. City Journal, Christopher F. Rufo, they're wanting to play God. A new whistleblower describes the horrors of gender affirming care, I hate that word, at Texas Children's Hospital. This is May 23rd, 2023. He did a bunch of interviews. I read a bunch of them. Last week, I worked with a whistleblower. Now, why are we doing this? Who's the we are coming for your children? Here's another example of we're coming for your children in action at the hospital. So, Department of Education, school boards, schools, and now you got hospitals, right? So this is what we're building here. Last week, I worked with a whistleblower to expose the child sex program at Texas Children's Hospital. Executives had promised to stop such procedures, but as the medical records demonstrate, this was not done. Doctors secretly continued to provide puberty blockers and other hormones to children between the ages of 11 and 17. Within days of the story's publication, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton launched an official investigation, saying that children are not to be treated as science experiments, his quote. And state legislatures secured the votes to pass a bipartisan bill, SB 14, that would outlaw all so-called gender-affirming care for minors. Now, a new whistleblower has come forward with allegations against Dr. Richard Ogden Roberts. This is from City Journal. Rufo. The whistleblower is a medical professional who has spent a significant amount of time observing Roberts working with gender dysphoric patients and their families. Quote, I'm absolutely sick to my stomach, the person says, expressing heartbreak at the number of children who have been led down the path of sterilization and regret. We're ruining them. Amazing, right? This is unbelievable. The transcript has been edited for length. Texas Children's Hospital and Dr. Roberts did not respond to a request. Christopher Rufo, start from the beginning and tell me what you've seen. Whistleblower. I work very closely with the provider, Dr. Richard Roberts. I've been in the room with him when he speaks with these patients. I've just wanted to see for myself how he speaks to them and how these transgender patients, what they look like with their history and what are underlying medical conditions they have. It is absolutely astonishing. So many of the charts that I have just perused and read through as I'm doing my work that have serious mental health issues. They're autistic. They have previous suicide attempts. They're depressed. They're on anxiety medications. They have a disability of some kind. It's just absolutely wild. Christopher Rufo, tell me more about Dr. Roberts, his demeanor, and his approach inside the clinic room. Is he addressing these underlying problems, or is he just saying gender-affirming care is the answer to all your problems? Whistleblower. He's concerned about his lane, so he's staying in his lane in terms of prescribing estrogen or testosterone. There's a patient who comes in who wants an increase in testosterone, for example, he'll totally do it. He'll up the dose. I've seen letters and referrals that he's made for double mastectomies. He's written letters to other states referring these kids to get surgery, saying he's 100% on board because they qualify under the gender dysphoria criteria and the diagnosis from the World Professional Association for Transgender Health, a professional society that sets standards for transgender medicine. It's just really sad. They're looking for affirmation. They're seeking the validation and approval of the adults that are in their lives. They're insecure. This is just from my interactions with these patients. So, if they're seeking approval of adults, you men, you fathers have to stand. You mothers have to stand. See, this is the problem. If society, institutions, and all these problem people lift up and validate and they get attention for changing, it's not the right way. The right way is to encourage them. You don't tell somebody that's about to drive over a bridge that's out, go ahead and drive over it, right? You don't tell the kid, oh, like if you feel like coming to school, come. It's et cetera, et cetera. You are Superman? Okay, jump off the building, sure. No, you give direction to kids that think they're Superman. You give direction to kids. How does the hospital approach these transgender minors, Christopher Rufo? In our hospitals, they have completely gone full-blown woke and changed people's sex to whatever they identify instead of their biological sex. And that's across the board. They've changed the names of the kid to what the kid wants to be referred to. So you have to dig a little bit to discover, get that? Oh, this is actually a female who's actually named whatever and not Anthony. There's one particular story he shares here. There was a 10-year-old girl. I went in the room with the adolescent gynecology provider, and she was transgender. She wanted to be referred to as her preferred name. We'll say that her preferred name was John. She wanted to be referred to as John. She was with her mom. They were of Hispanic origin, and they were essentially there for period-related issues. The conversation gets going. The provider refers to as him. She says, John, what's going on? What can I do for you today? And the mom replies and accidentally refers to the daughter as a her. She says, well, she's having these kinds of issues and this kind of pain. And then the girl turns around, looks at the mom. She says, I'm a he, mom. I'm a he. Kids need direction, not confusion. And I'm watching this exchange, and the girl is this beautiful girl. She's dressed like a boy, very masculine, baggy pants, oversized shirt. When the doctor asks this girl, how are your periods coming along? Would you like your periods to go away? See that? Would you like the periods to go away? Do you feel uncomfortable? And the girl looks at the doctor and says, yeah, can we do that? Yes, I would love that. And then the provider tells the girl, it's totally fine. You don't have to have a period at all if you don't want to. And of course, this is all because she's trying to transition to be a boy and she doesn't want a period. And the mom had this puzzled look. The mom had some concerns. And this provider shut her down. You see, here's provider versus parent, state versus parent, medical doctor versus parent. How do these children react after being placed on puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones? All the interactions I've had at these kids at first seem happy with what's going on. They're noticing all the changes. For the girls, they're getting a lot more hair in different parts. Their voices are changing. They don't sweat as much. They don't have as much acne. They seem very satisfied. Dr. Roberts is extremely encouraging of their transition and will essentially do whatever he can to make sure they're happy, at least externally happy, because I'm absolutely certain that they're not internally happy. He's very accommodating. He does whatever they want. See, does whatever they want. Parents don't do whatever children want. How fast does the decision be made to prescribe these puberty blockers to these children? Get this, you ready? How long do you think? Is it same day? Yes, if they fit the WPATH criteria for gender dysphoria, which is widely available online. Okay, you see that? In a day you can get it. They know exactly the verbiage to use. They just have to establish care. You can go on the Reddit and these other sites he talks about and get the information, just like illegal immigrants can get the information to come to the United States, right? The information's out there. Do the parents push back against this? Usually what happens is at first, maybe one or two, they'll be confused, they'll be wondering why, but when they come to the appointment and they're with Dr. Roberts, from what I can tell, what they show is they're supportive. I think they're just scared. Scared of what? They're scared of being reported to Child Protective Services. Now, it doesn't say here, I'm not sure if this is the coming from the federal government Child Protective Services or the Texas one, so I don't know. But we won't go into the constitutionality of the federal being there right now. We'll just stick with this. They're scared if they don't affirm their child and their kid is going to commit suicide and do self-harm, which is a lie, and they're intimidated by these doctors who are on the side of the kids, and the doctors have a lot of power, he says. They could report them, then their child could be taken away. So see, how do you feel observing this? I'm absolutely sick to my stomach, devastated. Literally, I sometimes have to go outside and cry. I don't mean to be dramatic, but I truly feel like there's a demonic presence at my workplace. Remember Moloch? And I'm so 100% against this whole ideology and the movement of children just feeling like they were born in the wrong body and being affirmed by adults who want to take advantage and make a buck. Look, say money. So always follow the money, power, control. You divide parent and student, you get more power. It's like $70,000, here's the key, to $80,000 per kid if they go through the whole thing. $70,000 to $80,000. Now that should never be funded by the federal government or state government in the United States of America. That's number one. Take all funding out of this, period. Take funding out of all of this, and you'll have less incentives for doctors and all these people to do it. There'll still be an ideology push. There'll still be the Marxists pushing it. Do you have colleagues who feel the same way that are just scared to speak? I know at least two who feel this way. They don't share their opinions because we're all afraid to lose their jobs. Sure, of course they are. There's a culture of fear. There's a culture of fear surrounding the procedures at Texas Children's Hospital. Whistleblower, culture of fear. Yes, I think it's unspoken. It's an undercurrent. It's not something that any of us want to question or find out. I worked really hard to get where I'm at. Of course he did. He makes a lot of money. He has a great job, he says. What motivates you, your colleagues to do these procedures? Okay, here's the key. What motivates your colleagues to do these procedures? Get this, whistleblower, they're activists. These doctors are activists. And they live for the applause of the medical community that praises and glorifies this up-and-coming success that has absolutely exploded. The transgender wing of medicine that has exploded over the last 10 years. And they're regarded as up-and-coming and cutting edge, and everyone's on their side. The media, this is right? This is the point of this. We're coming for your kids at the beginning was the chant, but these doctors and these people are taking the actions to come for your kids and change them forever and damage them forever. They think they're going to make their history, and they're wanting, and I like this last line, to play God, right? The transhumanists want to play God. These people want to play God with your children, with the children of everyone. They're your children. They're not everyone's children. But my point is they want to do it with everyone's children. But ultimately, you can't play God. There's absolutely no proof that a transgender surgery will cure patients' depression or whatever mental health issue. We have a generation of kids with mental health problems. It's very sad. And we need to treat those problems correctly, not by recommending that they change genders to fix a mental health problem. They're going to wake up in 10 years and discover they're infertile, that they can't have children, that their sexuality is completely dysfunctional, that they can't function as a normal human being. And they'll wake up and realize that they've been ruined. So here's the point. The chant was they're coming for your children. They are coming for your children. Here's the doctors that are doing it. Here's one hospital. There's the New Jersey government. So what can you do? Put your kids out in homeschool is one solution. What's number two? Speak the truth peacefully, always, everywhere you go, and move one person at a time. You can move one person at a time every week. That's 52 people a year to move to the truth. And we have the truth. And it's about freedom, right? Freedom. You're the parents. You need to be involved. They're trying to take you out of it.
We'll convert your children. Happens bit by bit, quietly and subtly, and you will barely notice it. We'll convert your children, yes we will.
Reaching one and all, there's really no escaping it.
'Cause even grandma likes RuPaul.
We're coming for your children.
We're coming for them.
We're coming for them.
We're coming for your children.
We're coming for them.
We'll convert your children. Then we'll turn to you.
In the end, this is an attack on children, the parents, the family, God. Normal, natural. And we can stand against it with the truth peacefully. Thank you. If you like this video, like it. It helps the algorithm. And please subscribe. Pass to your friends and share it. Thank you and have a magnificent day.